Welcome back from the break. On this week's Vox Pop, Michael So speaks to the Perth public about their views on mandatory drug testing for welfare recipients.
Random drug testing for job seekers in Mandurah is a step closer after a much debated bill passed through the House of Representatives last week. Do you think it's fair that such people may have to undergo such a process? I'm about to hit the streets to find out people's opinions on this. How do you feel about the welfare drug testing system that's been proposed?
To be honest, I think it's a good thing. I'm very on the bar. I think it's good, but at the same time, I don't think it's great. I do believe that people shouldn't be getting welfare and then going out and spending it on drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing. But then there's a lot of people that aren't using it. They're using it for food and their family.
I'm probably not that against it, to be honest. It's coming from Mandurah myself, I can see there are quite a few issues there, and I know it's probably not a super popular opinion, but it probably would help in a way to sort of reduce that population of people who are taking advantage of the system, or possibly, not doing it for, or using the funds for that maybe in ways that aren't supposed to be used. But
yeah, I think it's a good idea to be drug tested, because why should you get benefits of social benefits when you're on drugs? It shouldn't be allowed.
I think it's a little unfair. I believe that people, if they're doing their job and they're doing it correctly to, fulfilling their role to what's expected of them, I think they should receive their pay fully. That's what they're hired there to do, and if they're doing it, they shouldn't be penalised.
Well, if it's been passed, it's obviously going to happen. You don't really have a choice in what happens, but you sort of get, if you get pulled over, in a car, you'll get drug tested anyway, so I don't really see a difference.
I think they will need to analyse the situation carefully so that if the people are in a rehabilitation program, that they are encouraged to get work and earn an income and be less dependent on society, so long as they are trying to fix their problem.
Do you think this proposed new system is fair?
In some situations it would be. Nobody wants somebody who doesn't try to do the right thing, but if they are trying to do the right thing, then we need to encourage them and support them.
We still do have the power and the voice to be able to stand up and say, hey, this isn't right and we want to change this,
Well, is it right? It's not really that right, is it?
It's not fair at all, I think.
Yeah, it is pretty unfair if you think about it.
Yeah.
A lot of people aren't using their money for drugs, and then they're having to go in and get tested for something that they don't have anything to do with.
I like the idea of going into work and my boss coming up to me saying, we're going to randomly drug test you now, because I feel it just feels like my employer doesn't have trust in me, and if I'm doing my job and I haven't done anything wrong, I don't think there should be any reason for someone to be suspicious thinking
Why should they get benefits from the government if they're taking drugs? And if they're not taking drugs, fine. So they should take the test to prove they're not taking drugs.
Thank you for watching. This is Michael So reporting for Undercurrent.
And up next, Bast Tadros sits down with retired lawyer Peter Neal to discuss an alarming trend towards alleged perjury occurring in our family legal system.
Today I'm speaking to Peter Neal. He's a retired solicitor, and we're talking about the subject of perjury and how that is obstructing the course of justice and eroding the legal system. I'm here with Peter Neal today, and we're talking about social justice. We're talking about the laws that uphold fairness in the social system. Pete, what's your experience and what you're seeing in the legal system and with perjury in particular?
Well, perjury occurs far too often in our legal system. It has become a major problem. The problem has been highlighted by the Legal Affairs Committee of the House of Representatives, the all-party committee, that have reported that perjury is a major problem in the family court. And that committee has also been critical of the judges, because the judges take an oath of office to uphold the law, and they should be referring blatant cases of perjury to the police and the DPP for prosecution, but this hasn't been happening.
So, Peter, are you seeing that perjury is mainly happening and predominantly in the family court, or is there cases where it's happening in the criminal courts as well?
Perjury is happening in all courts in Australia, both federal and state, and it's become a major problem in the Australian judicial system.
And are you seeing that based on your experience and what you're seeing out there from people that are working in the government, or you mentioned judges in some cases, or is it predominantly people that are on trial?
I haven't had much experience in criminal trials. It has been highlighted by a House of Representatives committee on legal affairs, chaired by Sarah Henderson, who actually is a lawyer by profession. It's an all-party committee, and they've highlighted that perjury is a major problem in the family court. The committee think that perjury needs to be stamped out, because what is happening is that cases are running on for years and years. People are running up enormous legal costs. You could be telling the truth, but there's no halo that runs around your head to show the judge or the magistrate that you're the one telling the truth, and the other party is actually telling the lies. The police cannot just please themselves as to whether they investigate or not, because there is a major United Nations human decision. It's called Horvath versus Australia, and that decision establishes that all state police forces throughout the country must investigate genuine criminal complaints. They cannot decide not to investigate. So some people are saying if the police are failing to investigate a criminal complaint, they are in fact actually perverting the course of justice, which again is a criminal offence. So something needs to be done about it, and it's of grave concern to the whole of the community, because it means that if you go to court and the other side lie, you've got a 50% chance, if the other side who are lying are believed, that you're going to lose your case. So you can end up losing your case, you end up having to pay your own legal costs plus the costs of the other side, and can end up going bankrupt.
What can members of Parliament and the government actually do to improve the situation and to address it?
Well, members of Parliament need to ensure that the law is being enforced, and that if the police don't investigate and the complaint goes on to the WACCC, that the CCC do in fact investigate those complaints. Now, in the past there's been 2 reports of parliamentary inspectors severely criticising the WACCC on the basis that they have failed to properly investigate a number of criminal complaints.
Peter, in your view, what should people do that feel that they've been suffering due to perjury and perhaps some lies or things that have been said in court that they want to address, or even prior to court?
What they should do is write to the Minister of Police, because the Minister of Police under parliamentary protocols must then refer the complaint of perjury to the Police Commissioner for investigation. And if the Police Commissioner fails to investigate, I would then suggest that a complaint be lodged with the WACCC, because some people are saying that failing to investigate a genuine criminal complaint is in fact perverting the course of justice.
Peter Neal, thank you so much for your time. I'm Bas Tadros for Undercurrent.
This week we sent Laura down to Fremantle to catch up with local artists the Norfolk Pines. She had a chat with them about their music and what it's like being a local Perth musician.
Perth nightlife is one of the things that makes this city so amazing. Today I was lucky enough to chat to the guys from the Norfolk Pines about music in Perth and what you can expect. I'm here with Alistair and Leroy from the Norfolk Pines band. We're talking all things music. Tell us a little bit about why you started the band.
We started the band because we used to play in a band a long, long time ago together, and Peter, who's not here right now, he's at work, he actually wanted to go busking originally, so that's how we got together, and we just started writing songs. That was about 2 years ago. And before we knew it, we'd written a whole album's worth, and then we were like, well, we're going to have to do something with it. So then we kind of got a band together, and that's when Paul came on board. And then we've kind of tweaked around with it a little bit. It was a little bit bigger to begin with. Now it's just a 3-piece, mainly because it's just easier to deal with like that.
Tell us what inspires you to write the lyrics. Is it yourself, Alistair, or you write them all yourself, or is it collaboration?
Yeah, most of the songs I would write. Inspiration comes from all kinds of places. Generally, I try to come up with an idea, like a title. It normally starts with just a title, and then elaborate from there. So, yeah, if it sounds good, I'm like, yeah, that sounds like a song. So then we just have to come up with something from there. Or sometimes I write the words first, then have to come up with the title, but that tends to be a bit harder.
The boys sort of asked me to come along after they'd written a few songs, and mainly just to keep them in time, you know. Most guitarists have dodgy timing, and having a drummer or someone just keeping time just keeps them all there, and it just adds a little bit of a different element to the band, I guess, rather than just two guys with an acoustic guitar. You know, I've got the little mini drum kit, and it's kind of quirky, adds a little bit of something different and interesting to the band, I think.
The Norfolk Pines, where did the name come from?
I mean, it just worked. I mean, there's a lot of Norfolk Pines in Fremantle, which is where we're from, so it kind of seemed it tied in really well. And you know, the music's a bit earthy, it's a bit bluesy, it's a bit folky, it's a bit rock. Yeah, I think the title kind of works really well.
Where can our viewers see your next gig? Can you tell us about that?
Yep, the next gig is at Rodney's Bait and Tackle in Mosman Park. So that's on Stirling Highway, and that's going to be our CD launch for the next album, which we recorded with a band in Greece called Bitero. So it was like a online collaboration. So we'd record some stuff here, we'd email it across to them, they'd add some stuff in, send it back. We change it if we needed to, but that's been really good. I mean, we did it, I think it took about just under 5 months to do the whole thing, so we got 6 songs out of it. And yeah, the new album's coming out, and hopefully before the CD launch there will be a couple more videos uploaded. But yeah, no, looking forward to it. It should be good. We've also done a song for a movie coming out next year that's independent horror action film that was made in Hollywood. It's called Preacher 6. So again, we did the song with the band in Greece, Bitero. We did this with them, and yeah, that's coming out next year. So
Wow, lots going on. And a little message for any young budding artists in Perth that are thinking, oh, it's too hard to compete for music in Perth. What would you say to them?
just keep going, keep going. It's hard. I mean, it takes a long time. You're not going to get instant success unless you're super duper lucky. I mean, most people, you've got to slug away at it for a long, long time. But the most important thing, have fun, enjoy what you're doing, and just have fun with it. And then any success that comes along is just a bonus. But most importantly, just have fun.
And from you, Leroy?
Hit drums, not drugs.
Good advice. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us here on Undercurrent, and I look forward to catching you at your next gig in November.
That's all we have time for this week's episode of Undercurrent, but don't worry if you missed any of the episode. Head to the WTV website and download the Your View app. You can watch any past episodes and you can stream live episodes as they're happening. We'll see you next week.